everyone, I'm Ace of Clay and welcome to another sculpting video. If you're new here, I'm a sculptor and every week I make a new sculpture. Today I'm sculpting Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali was a Spanish surrealist artist famous for his imaginative and eccentric works. Born in 1904, his unique style featured dreamlike landscapes and melting clocks, making him one of the most iconic artists of the 20th century. And of course, Dali's work continues to inspire with its bold creativity. And I am very excited to add this guy to my icon series that I'm working on right now. Let me know in the comments who you want to see me make next. And before we get started, if you have a sec, head on over to aceofclay.com to see all of the brand new sculpting products that I have for you. So not only do I offer everyone's favorite silicone sculpting mat, I now sell 10 and 16 gauge armature wire, wooden sculpture bases with and without pre-drilled holes, clay cutting blades, 2 different kinds of rollers, and more. And while everything is available individually, I also sell all of the sculpting products in one box that I call my box of everything. This is available at a discounted rate so you can jumpstart your next sculpture. Again, head on over to aceofclay.com to see everything I've got. And now without further ado, let's sculpt Salvador Dali. Alright, I've got my wooden base here with the pre-drilled holes, and I'm going to add my armature wire and start shaping out one side of Dali's body and then mirroring it to create the other side. Once both sides are complete, I'm going to connect them with some more wire and add a third wire to create the neck. And just like that, the wire portion of our armature is complete. Now I'm going to brush the torso with some Bacon Bond and then add some Super Sculpey Ultralight to bulk it out. This step can also be done with aluminum foil, but I like the control I have with the Ultralight. Once the torso is shaped out, it's time to bake it. Once he's baked and cooled down, we're going to add our final layer of clay in thin, even sheets. This is Super Sculpey Ultralight. Before I add clay to his legs, I want to brush on some Bacon Bond so that the clay adheres nicely to that armature wire. In my opinion, this is just as effective and quicker than wire wrapping. Once the legs are on, I'm going to take my clay cutter and cut a pleat into the front of each leg. I'm holding the clay cutter at a little bit of an angle just to create that nice point in the front. Now moving our way up, before we add his clothes up top, we have to give him a neck. We're going to give him his iconic double-breasted suit. To create the bottom edge of the jacket, I'm just adding this flattened snake of clay around it, like so. And then I'm going to blend that top edge in with the rest of him. Before I add his collar, I'm going to pop on his tie. Now I'm carefully wrapping on his lapels and slightly crossing them over to create that double-breasted look. Using my clay cutter, I'm going to cut out the fish mouths. That's what the notches are called in lapels. To create the opening of his jacket, I'm taking this flattened snake of clay, lining it up correctly, and then blending that outside edge in with the rest of his coat. And just like that, he's got a double-breasted suit. After some smoothing and refining, we're going to add his buttons. After creating the holes in the buttons, I'm going to use my Super Poker to create some wrinkles. Now for some seams. For an added detail, I'm going to give him a pocket square and a pocket, of course. Now I'm working my way down and adding some bacon bond to that exposed wire where his feet are going to go. Let's go ahead and create his shoes. I like to shape out the shoes in my fingertips and then cut a notch in the back of them that can wrap around the wire. Then I follow this by adding the soles with the edge of my spoon tool, and I'll finish them off with some laces. After popping on the final laces, the main part of his body is done and we can move on to his head. I'm starting by balling up this aluminum foil to create the core, and then I'm covering it in some Super Sculpey Living Doll. When you're sculpting a likeness, getting the shape of the head just right is very important, because if it's not just right, all of your other features are going to be thrown off. Because Dali has some prominent cheekbones, I'm actually going to add those first with my thumbs and then base the rest of his face around them. Now I'm just going to press out the eye sockets and start working on his eyes. During the creation of the eye sockets, I sort of created the bridge of his nose already with that excess clay that was in the middle. Now I'm going to pop in a little ball of clay for his eyes, and then we're going to start making his eyelids. I like to start with extra room in the eye socket so I can add the proper amount of clay around the eyes that will match the likeness I'm sculpting. I'm more of an additive sculptor than subtractive, if you can't tell. Now we're going to bring out his brow bone a little bit, and he's going to have his sort of surprised expression, that mysterious gaze that he has in almost all of his photographs. So we're going to make sure that the positioning of his brow is a little higher than normal. When you raise your eyebrows, everything above your eyes moves up, so we got to make sure that we reflect that in our sculpt. After completing the majority of the other eye, we're going to add some slight eye bags. Now I'm going to add this teardrop shape to create his nose. And the first step is to blend in all the edges with my spoon tool. Using a medium ball stylus, I'm going to refine the bridge and deepen the area between the eyes. To make his nose a little bigger, I'm just adding this little flat sheet of clay and I'm going to blend it in. To create the nostrils, I'm just inserting my small ball stylus and flaring them out. To start his mouth, I just want to create an indent with my spoon tool and then start refining things with my super poker, and then I'll add his upper and lower lip. I want to give him a sort of ooh expression. Once the mouth is done, I'm just going to bring his cheekbones out a little bit more. Now for his eyebrows. Due to his expression, we're going to place these a little higher up than if his face was in a resting position. For his super iconic mustache, I just covered this piece of floral wire with some thin cos clay and I'm texturing it, and we're going to poke it into his face. I'm making these really long and exaggerated because this is a caricature of him. But they are actually kind of long in some photos. After getting his stash to perfect points and just the right angle, we're going to add some ears. For the final step on his head, we're going to brush on some clay softener to remove fingerprints and get them nice and smooth and ready for the oven. Thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. I always have so much going on in my life, whether it's my personal life, whether it's my business life. I always have so many things to do, and while I'm doing everything, I really don't want to forget about my mental health. Having to deal with so many different things all the time can really take a toll, and that's where BetterHelp can help. BetterHelp makes starting therapy so much easier and less intimidating for a lot of people. BetterHelp lets you have therapy sessions as a phone call, video chat, or even messaging, whatever version of therapy is most comfortable for you. BetterHelp can match you with over 30,000 therapists in their network based on your needs, preferences, and location, which gives you a wider range of expertise than may be available in your city. To get started, you just fill out a questionnaire to answer some questions on what you're going through. Then, BetterHelp can match you with a therapist to help you. And you'll get your therapist match in most cases within 48 hours. From there, you can schedule therapy sessions at a time that's convenient for you. And for whatever reason, if your therapist isn't a perfect match, you can always switch therapists with the click of a button in your settings for no additional charge. This is a favorite feature for a lot of people because you don't have to break up with your therapist and then start the whole process over again. So if you're like me and you want to continue this year taking better care of your mental health, head on over to betterhelp.com/aceofclay, that's better, H-E-L-P, and join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start living a happier, healthier life. Just click the link below in the description box, or again, visit betterhelp.com/aceofclay. Doing so helps support this channel and gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps. Once his head and body have been baked and are completely cooled down, we're going to start working on his arms. I'm going to put them into their final position and then cover them in clay just like we did with his legs. And I thought it would be a neat idea to make him holding one of his iconic melted clocks. I made his hands out of cosclay and I'm going to attach them now. To create the melted clock, I just rolled out a ball of clay into this nice little circle, and I'm adding a little bevel to it with a snake of clay. Once it's done, we're going to stick it into his hands with some Bacon Bond. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's finish it off with a little crown. And there we go. The last thing we got to do is his hair. I want to brush on some Bacon Bond so the hair sticks nicely, and then we're going to start shaping out the general shape of his do. To add the hair detail, I'm starting with the hairline using small downward strokes with my super poker to press the uncured clay into the cured clay for a nice blend. Then I'm going to connect these lines with longer lines that will go down the back of his head. Once his hair is done, I added some Bacon Bond into the hole in his head and I'm pressing it onto his body, and we're just going to add some little flyaways with floral wire, and then we can bake him one final time. And once our dude is baked and cooled down, it's time for paint. We're going to start with all of his skin. I'm using this beige tone first. It's sort of a medium tone that's right in the middle of the two colors I want to make his face. Then once that's on and dry, we're going to dry brush some lighter beige to add some highlights. Now I'm going in with a fine paintbrush and some watered down brown and sort of accenting all of the lines in his face. Now I'm going to dry brush some of that dark brown into all of the nooks and crannies on his face to add some shadows. And we're going to go with this nice rosy color for his lips. For the whites of his eyes, just so they're not stark white, I mixed a little bit of his skin tone in with my white. And my favorite part of this whole sculpting project is painting his mustache right here. Now I'm very carefully going in, adding his irises. Now for the eyebrows. For his hair, I'm just going to start by painting the hairline with a fine paintbrush so I have more control, and then I can go in with a bigger one to paint the big parts. Now let's paint up his suit. For the face of the clock, I'm going in with a very, very light gray. Now let's hone our calligraphy skills and paint all the numbers freehand. And I'm setting the clock for 5:45, the time that this video went live. Now I'm painting the frame of the clock black because I'm going to paint some metallic gold on top, and gold looks really nice on top of black. Now I'm going to pop on some tiny white dots into his eyes to create reflections. To make his shoes look like patent leather, I'm going in with some high gloss varnish. After painting his super smooth, high quality Ace of Clay base, we're gonna pop him on and say it with me. And he's done! My sculpture of Dali is complete. Let me know how you think I did in the comments. I'm really enjoying this series. I love how it's fan art, but it's like fan art with my own twist, and these are actual people that actually inspire me and have inspired a lot of my works, and I'm just really excited to be working on this, and I really hope you're enjoying the process. Don't forget to head on over to aceofclay.com to jumpstart your next sculpting project with my all new line of sculpting supplies. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok at aceofclay, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.